Hello. Good evening, Charlotte. My name's Lisa. You don't have to unmute yourself if you don't want to.
Oh,
Welcome. Thank you for being the first one here.
you're welcome.
Thought in my email you even beat me. I try to start it exactly at 7 because if I don't, then like if I start like 5 or 10 minutes earlier, it'll just be recording me, like just me. So, and I don't think people just want to look at me because I record it so I can share it with the rest of the group as a recap or people who don't make it on the session. But anyway, thank you for being here and thank you for being timely. There are 11 people who signed up today. We'll see if everyone shows up. But I'd like to give people a little bit of grace. So I probably won't get started until at least 7:05 just to give people the opportunity to trickle in and get acclimated. So just as a heads up, I might mute myself just in case I am typing in the interim, but you're welcome to on, stay on video, mute yourself or mute yourself or turn off your video, whatever you feel most comfortable with.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Gail. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Good to be here.
I was just telling Charlotte, who arrived even before me on this session, that I like to give people grace. So you're right on time because I typically aim to start at 7:05, like in that ballpark area. So you're right on time. And just as a heads up, there are 11 people who signed up, two people who signed up within the last hour and a half. I'm not sure if everybody will join us tonight. If not, it'll be a nice, small, intimate group. But if they do join us, we will catch them up. But I don't want to delay us getting started just because there are quite a few trips that people expressed interest in, and we only have an hour and a half, up to an hour and a half. Well, I can go over, but I only want to take up the time that people allotted for. So, without further ado, welcome to this information session. My name is Lisa Gomes. I am it feels so weird to say like CEO and founder, but Lesbifriends Travel is my baby. And I started doing these trip information sessions a couple of years ago because I found that people had a lot of questions about the trips, and I wanted an easy platform to be able to answer those questions, and just share a bit more about the organization and the background, the history, as well as answer people's questions and be able to ask people questions about who they were, what they like to do in terms of travel, where they want to go. So not only will I be sharing information with you, but this will be interactive. So hopefully I'm not talking at you the entire time. And if you are able to unmute yourself or um, excuse me, write in the group chat. If you can't unmute yourself, then that would be great. Just answering the prompts um, throughout the chat. All right. So without further ado, I am going to get started on what I like to on the first set of icebreakers, just so we can share a little bit about ourselves with the group and get us a little warmed up on this Sunday evening. I was going to say chilly Sunday evening. I don't know where everybody's located yet, but that's a good segue into this because it's a little chilly where I'm at. So this is going to be our welcome. So I would like to know, and I'll put this in the group chat. Just three things about you, if everyone can, and I'll start. Let me add it to the chat. Okay, so the three things are: if where are you joining us from? What's your go-to travel vibe? And I just gave some examples. Do you like relaxing, adventure, culture? Do you want to party? You can also pick multiple things or name something not on that suggested list. And then if you could hop on a plane tomorrow, where would you go? So I will lead by example. So I'm joining from Washington, D.C. That's where I live and have been for almost 20 years now. My go-to travel vibe, and I selfishly said you could pick all three or multiples because I like a little bit of everything. But I will say that I try to get at least one adventure activity in on a trip. And then one day I might give myself like a spa day. I might get a massage, or just lounge around at the beach. And then if I could hop on a plane tomorrow, um, probably not the best time of year to go here, but I've been really itching to get to Iceland. So I would like to go to Iceland. Okay, and there's only three of us right now in the room, so that makes it easy for one of you to volunteer. Feel free to unmute yourself and just have at it, and or put it in the group chat if you prefer to just type your answers.
This is Charlotte. I'll go.
Thanks, Charlotte.
You're welcome. I'm in the Philadelphia area, right outside of Philly. Relaxing be my answer to number two. And three is a toss up between Tuscany and the Amalfi Coast.
Ooh,
Today. Tomorrow
today.
might be different, but today is, yeah.
Love that. Great places. Thank you
Hi,
for sharing. And
it's
your turn, Gail.
sorry, this is Gail, and I'm joining you in from Denina Land in Anchorage, Alaska. And let's see, my vibe would be all of that relaxing, adventurous, cultural party. And if I could jump on a plane tomorrow, it would be the Amazon. And I say that because the Amazon is in danger, and there are healers there that I would love to be with to get deeper understanding of healing work, of nature, and how to incorporate that in my life so that I can help others on their journey also. Thank you.
Love that. Thank you for sharing the reason as well. I don't think anyone has ever been on an information session from Alaska, so welcome. That's pretty cool. And Philly is one of my favorite cities, Charlotte, so I love that you're calling from there as well. Okay, well, that was a nice quick round, and thank you for letting everybody know your names and answering those quick prompts. There are quite a lot of trips that the group as a whole who signed up for this trip information session shared that they were interested in getting to know more about. Based on who's here is what I'm going to present. So, and we'll just go in order of the trips. So just as a heads up, Charlotte expressed interest in potentially going to Cabo. Charlotte, do you know Cabo is in like 3 weeks?
No, I didn't.
Are
No.
you prepared? Are you prepared to travel in 3 weeks?
Um, no, I'm not actually. No.
Okay, well, I am not going to waste your time or Gail's because she didn't express interest in that trip. And I'm not going to present that if that's okay.
Sure, absolutely, sure thing.
Okay, of course, I would love for you to join us, but it's right around the corner. So I completely understand if that's not feasible. It's the weekend of July 4th, actually.
Oh yeah, no. Thank
Um,
you.
the next trip that is on the lineup that Gail actually expressed interest in was Egypt and Jordan. So I'll start probably with sharing that trip, a little bit more about that trip. And then, was that the only trip you wanted to come on, Charlotte? Because you can definitely stay for the whole information session, but I think that's the only one you expressed interest in coming on. So just to give you just an overview of the remaining trips for the year, and that's all I can share because I haven't released the trips for next year yet. There's a summer glamp trip, which is it's a elevated camping experience over a long weekend in July in River Mountain, which is in Pennsylvania, about 2.5. Well, sorry, I feel like I should know how far it is from Philly. I feel like it's about the same distance from Philly, but it's about 2.5 hours from DC, maybe 4 hours from New York. And then there's Egypt and Jordan, which is that is actually in September. Both of those countries are a combo trip. And so I'm definitely going to talk about that because Gail expressed interest in that trip. And then there is, excuse me, Japan and South Africa. Japan is in October. Sorry, I'm looking at my calendar if you see me looking to the side. Japan is in October and South Africa is in December over New Year's. So I'll get through as many of these as you guys actually want to hear. But again, I don't want to waste your time. So I'm going to cut out Cabo because just in case you're not prepared to go in 3 weeks, Gail, unless you really want to hear about that trip. And I'm not sure if Cabo will be a repeat trip for next year, maybe for the year after. So um, I'll start things off with Egypt and Jordan, unless you guys are interested in hearing about the glamping trip.
I have a question about that. I have done car camping, I've done backpacking, and so is glamping, is that being in a cabin or like an elevated um, loft, or what is glamping? I know it's not rough.
Right, right. Well, I'm gonna just share the whole trip with you. But just to answer your question, glamping is staying in a cabin. It's usually a nicer cabin than one with just four walls and maybe like a cot or a bunk bed or one bed situation. Um, and the place that we're staying in particular is really special because I've been there a couple times, but it's just a beautiful retreat space um, and uh, with it's with great amenities. Like camping, you're bringing everything and taking care of it yourself. I wish I wish I had it in me, Gail. I wish I did, but I'll leave that to you. So glamping, you're in nature, but it's more of like a hotel experience, if you will. You still get the outdoor adventure experience, but the retreat space that we are renting out actually has a full staff on hand to help us facilitate over the weekend and not have to think about cooking. We can just focus on the community connection, the workshops, the activities that we have planned, the field day, the hot tubbing, so we don't have to take care of that. They'll take care of us so we can enjoy each other.
Okay.
And if you're not sold, that's okay. I don't have to share the trip.
Yeah,
Go
you.
ahead.
I just wanted to know what it consisted of. Yeah, thank you.
No problem. Well, if there's time at the end, maybe we'll circle back to the glamping trip. But for now, let me share with you. We'll start with Egypt and Jordan. I do have two screens, so if I'm looking to the right, it's just because I'm looking at another screen. So let me pull up the Egypt and Jordan presentation. And before we even get into the trip specifics, I will share with you more about who I am, who Lesbifriends Travel is as a brand, and a little bit more about why you should consider traveling with us. Okay, my internet is thinking hard today. I'm going to make sorry, bear with me. There it is. Okay, now I can share my screen with you. Okay, I'm very excited to start with this trip. It has been a long time coming since starting to plan this, so this is a good first trip to share. You should see on your screen that I shared with you my screen. Well, it was a slide that said Egypt and Jordan and the dates, but now you should see an about Lisa and Lesbifriends travel page. If what I'm saying doesn't line up to um, what the description is that I'm describing, just ping me, let me know. Sometimes I use Canva as a presentation platform, so sometimes it's just delayed due to the inner workings of Zoom. Okay, so a little bit about me and Lesbifriends Travel, just so you know who you are giving your hard-earned money to. I founded Lesbifriends Travel back in well, I started a group called Wine and Lesbifriends, literally out of my living room because back in 2011, because I had just graduated from law school and I wanted community. I I was, I guess, new in the life, if you will. Coming out of law school, I wasn't socializing that much and I just craved community. But I wasn't the type of person who wanted to go to a club or was going to be like hanging out a lot. And so I kind of turned to a couple friends that I had and we naturally just started hosting um, very organic get-togethers in my one-bedroom co-op apartment at the time. It grew to a bi-monthly meetup, if you will. And it made a lot of acquaintances, a lot of friends over the years, just hosting in my own home. So I ended up expanding it because it outgrew my small space at the time. And in the connection that people were making every month with this, like, again, just like game night, very like chill house house gathering. I can't even call it a party because like there wasn't a bunch of music, maybe like background music, but it grew into an annual trip, which was a winter trip that we did for several years, and then it grew into a summer trip. And then back in 20, over the pandemic, people saw that I was traveling a lot and they were like, you should take us on one of your international trips. So I decided to pivot from just having this as a passion project, if you will. And I decided to host trips professionally for other people to go on and myself to host. So therein lies the story of how Lesbifriends Travel came to be. We just had our 70th event over Memorial Day weekend, which also is DC Black Pride weekend. So I've hosted over 70, well, I've hosted 70 events. And I think we're at 20 trips now. And we only started the international trips back in 2022. No, 2023 rather, excuse me. So we're well on our way. And this year we're slated to have 11 trips total, some domestic, some international, and probably around the same amount next year. I don't want Lesbifriends to be huge. I still want it to be small and intimate. I think there are other great travel groups like Olivia who are doing a good job, but Lesbifriends Travel is not going to be that. It's just not the intention, really. And we are really intent on helping people get to know one another. And creating safe travel spaces for that interaction. So that's a little bit about my background and Lesbifriends Travel's background. By day, I'm an attorney. I work for the Federal Election Commission, and in the evenings and sometimes in between, responding to writing memos for the FEC. I also, do Lesbifriends Travel, and then on the side, I also have an Airbnb where I host, and I've hosted since 2012. So I wear many hats, and I'm pretty good at it. I'm a pretty good organizer, so hence why so many people entrust me with their travel plans. But that's a little bit about the company and me as a person. Now let's move on to what makes Lesbifriends Travel unique. I'm not sure if either of you are group travelers, and maybe we'll find out that after we share a little bit more about this trip. But I'm the person, even in the group travel experience, that typically likes to take the lead. And I enjoy that because I'm organized. I I used to say I was a control freak. I've let it go, and so I relinquished some control. But I kind of like to put my destiny in my own hands. I don't want anybody else to be responsible for me having a good time. However, I like being responsible for you having a good time, so you can trust that. Trust in that. But because of my very, I'm not going to say OCD, maybe I'm a little anal, because of my particular ways, I plan a good trip. So some of the things that you get when you travel with Lesbifriends, even when you start your journey, you're going to know that myself and my team, I don't do it alone now, thank goodness. I do have an assistant. We're going to take time and craft LGBTQ plus centered itinerary. So before we even put out a trip, we're going to do research on the place that we're going. We're going to plan the itinerary. We're going to vet where we're staying, the area. We're going to look up the laws and see what that's going to be for queer travelers to be there. Before we even decide whether or not to go somewhere. And then sometimes on trips, we try to be a little bit more gay. Some places that we travel to, we can't be as out and proud as we want to, even though we are always unapologetically us. But some places we can, like we went to Brazil for Carnival this past February, and Brazil is hella gay. So we were very comfortable in our own skin there, and we even did like a queer tour. And there were a lot of queer places that we could go to, which was very refreshing. Um, Another thing that sets us that we like to do to give you and a different kind of experience is that we do try our best to match you with like-minded roommates. So we do a pretty thorough survey to really get into like who you are, what you like, your preferences, and for those who are solo travelers who prefer a roommate, we're going to match you with the right person for you. And then we're going to make those introductions before you get on the trip, so you can get to know one another a little bit. We also put together location-specific packing lists, complete with even Amazon links. So if you want to easily do your shopping online, we're vetting these products. I like to shop, so you're really benefiting from my bad habit, as my mother would say. But I've purchased a lot of things in my travels, having been to over 55 countries. So hopefully my experience vetting some things helps people. And we're going to give you those packing lists for each country, each place that we go, so you're prepared. Complete with even like what to wear, like the types of clothes to pack for cultural reasons as well as weather and excursion and the types of excursions that we're going to do. We also do also included when you are part of the Lesbifriends travel family, our event finding and planning. So we are based in Washington, D.C. I know that's a little bit far from Alaska, so I completely understand if you can't come to one of our local events. But we do host those throughout the year. And if you ever are in DC or just want to, come for the weekend, again, I have that Airbnb. If it's empty and available, I am welcome. I'm happy to host you. I've even done that like for no charge for people who I've met through these information sessions, and it was a really good time. But in addition to that, just for the people who come on our trips, we host at least one event a year as an appreciation event to say thank you for being part of our family. Only people who have traveled with us in the last year or so and or will be traveling with us on a future trip, like have signed up for that trip, are invited. And so it's an opportunity to connect with people in person who you're going to be traveling with. And then if you've already traveled with some people, it's kind of like a mini reunion built in. And then you meet someone who you might want to travel with on your next trip. We also do pre-trip community group chat and connecting. We do an information session for each trip before the trip. So if let's say you signed up to go to Egypt and Jordan, our trip information session is about a month before the trip, where we're going to go over that travel guide, the laws, the cultural norms. I disseminate information throughout the process. So some of this information you might have already received, but I'm going to make sure you know about any visas that you need or immunization shots. And it's a way for us to virtually meet one another and get excited about the upcoming trip. And then last but not least, I make a mean travel guide. So I think the last Lesbifriends is going 2 places this month in June. So our Bali travel guide was like almost 30 pages, just of like really good information about food, currency, local places around where we're staying to shop, tipping norms, stuff like that. Even some local phrases you can say. And yeah, so there's a built-in education. So you don't have to go do your own research. We're gonna just help provide you with that information to make this as smooth a process as possible. Okay, now that we've talked about the company, um, my background, my history. Oh, I am a travel advisor too. I have received formal training, and all the discounts associated with that training. I'm pretty well equipped to, plan and host trips. Just want to mention that. But since we are first going to be talking about Egypt and Cairo, I just want to ask, before we pivot just to the trips, were there any questions that either of you, are there any questions that either of you had just about the information I've shared thus far about the group, the community, my background, or Lesbifriends' background?
I'm good. It sounds fantastic so far. I'm glad that you're so knowledgeable and yeah, it sounds good. I'm good right now. Thank you. This is Gail.
Yes. Hi, Gail. Yes, I thank you. I can see your name light up, but thank you. And I'm learning your voices too. So thank you for telling me that. And if you don't have questions, that's good too, because I'm doing my job. um, but you can also just unmute yourself if you do have a question. I know I said I have 2 screens, but I'm trying to watch both of them. So you can unmute yourselves and just talk if you do have a question throughout the presentation. Okay, so where we are heading next. So one of our upcoming trips this year is to Egypt and Jordan. I've been to both places. This was actually my law school graduation trip, one of them. I went over New Year's of 2010. So 2010 to 2011, I went to Israel, Egypt, and Jordan. And I had an amazing experience. It was my first time in the Middle East, and I actually thought Jordan was I thought Egypt would have been my favorite out of the three, but Jordan was actually the best, or my most memorable, my favorite out of the 3 places we went. And so when I do these information sessions and people are like, where do you want to go? When I ask people where they want to go, a lot of people had been saying Egypt. And I just felt, and Egypt's a great place to go. I definitely want people to have that experience, but I thought Jordan was such an easy add-on, and one of those like hidden gems that people don't like hear. It's not as popular, so maybe people don't want to go. So I was like, I'm gonna incorporate this into this trip. So we're going to both countries, September 19th through the 27th. So I'd like to just give a little bit of an idea of where we're staying to start off, and then we'll get into the trip specifics. Because I do know like where you lay your head at night is important to people. The first place we are staying is I always try to pick places that are, well, definitely safe, like areas, neighborhoods that are safe, but are also pretty walkable or um, located near things that people can do on their own, because there is built-in free time on this trip. And we might not have all meals together. So I want people to be in a space that they feel comfortable to explore on their own. So we are staying close to the pyramids of Giza when we first arrived in Egypt, in a nice modern hotel with great views. Our second accommodation is a little bit more is more traditional. So we will be next heading to Petra. And this accommodation I picked this because of where it was located near one of Jordan's most archaeological sites. So in Jordan terms, as we know, not all Not all of our standards are the same because we are privileged Americans, but in Jordan's term, this is a luxurious hotel with modern amenities, but to us, it might be a little, I mean, it might be not our form of modern. But I always just like to tell people to keep an open mind. Again, I vet these places, they have good reviews. I've talked to people who've stayed in them, so they're nice accommodations. And then our third accommodation, where this is like one of the coolest things that I can't incorporate this in all trips, guys, but because we're going to the desert, I think we should sleep in the desert, right? Like once in a lifetime opportunity. So we're actually going to Wadi Rum, and we're staying in this would be considered glamping, Gail. This probably would be considered glamping, but glamping in the desert. So these are kind of like the amenities that are offered at the summer glamp. There are yurts. I don't think this is considered a yurt, but there it's probably a little bit more luxurious than a yurt. But this is the type of accommodation that would be also on that trip. And yes, who doesn't want to like look? I actually camped out in the desert. That's probably why I'm turned off to camping because you think desert, it's going to be hot. When I went to Jordan the first time, I slept in the desert, but it wasn't like in this nice modern. That was 15 years ago. I was a poor, broke law school graduate. I don't even think I had a job. I'm not sure how I afforded to go on that trip, but um, we can spend a little bit more money and have a little bit better accommodations this second time around. So this is where we're gonna stay for just one night, just for the experience. And then, unfortunately, we have to go back into the lap of luxury, if you will, and we're gonna head to Jordan's capital city, where we're gonna stay in a more modern hotel. So this all trips are different. I'll say that. In this trip, we are moving around quite a bit because we're going to two countries and we're going to three cities. Normally, I don't have us going around this much, but I do hope for the people who are interested in this trip that this is kind of like a survey trip, so that I mean, of course, people can arrive early, leave late to extend their trip. But for a lot of us, we don't have the luxury of like traveling for 2, 3 weeks at a time. So we have to get it in while we can. So that's why I try to pack as much of an experience in as possible over this week and a half long trip. Okay, let's get to what we're going to actually be doing when we arrive. So over this 9-day adventure, we are going to, when we arrive, in day one, there will be someone to greet you and meet you at the airport, and then take you to our hotels to check in. I always try to give people like a bubble of time to arrive and to depart, just so they don't miss anything, but also so they're not like arriving at 2 a.m. at the airport on the day the trip starts, because I can't have most hotels won't allow for an early check-in, at least not until like the day before, if it's even available at all. So you're either going to be sitting around all day at the airport or at the hotel. So I do recommend a bubble of time that people arrive. And I do help with flights too. Like I've even booked them before, but now I'm just at the point where I'll help search for them with you. I think that's a better method. Just because I like to information share and again, let people be owners of their own experience. So, but anyway, when you arrive, we will meet you at the airport and you will get, and then we will transfer to our hotel. We'll have a little downtime to get settled in. Then we'll do a meet and greet and we'll experience sunset as a group at Cairo Tower, and also have a welcome dinner for the group to get to know one another a little bit better. Okay, so day two, which is our first full day on this trip, I listen when the people tell me things. So I normally would be go, go, go. We only have 9 days, guys. But don't worry, I'm gonna let you guys sleep in a little bit. So we're only gonna do a half day tour. So we're gonna do a half day tour to explore Egypt, and we're gonna go to Giza in particular, the Giza pyramids, and see the Sphinx, and do all those like little fun pictures where you're like you're putting your hand on top of the pyramid or something cool like that. I have pictures like that. I don't know that I really ever look at them again, but it's still cool to show your friends and family when you first do it. And then there's an optional Nile dinner cruise for those who want to keep the party going. On day three, we're gonna explore a little bit more, and we're gonna do a Cairo day tour, where we'll get to see the Egyptian Museum, the Citadel, and the Khankali Bazaar. So we'll get to do a little shopping and go into the streets, the authentic streets of Egypt. Day 4, we're gonna, after breakfast is included, if you haven't, if it wasn't clear, breakfast is included where we stay. And then some meals are included, not all of them. So after breakfast, this is gonna be your day to kind of just do your thing. So if you want to plan an activity on your own, or if you want to ask me for recommendations, I'm happy to give those to you. Some people just like to show up and kind of just feel it out and go with the flow. I have had Lesbifriends, as I like to call my group. I've had Lesbifriends like meet on the trip, and then like by day 5 they're besties, and then they're planning their own excursions on their own. But there are some suggested things that I always like to give people as an option. On day 5, this is when we head out to Jordan. So as you can see, half of the time is in Egypt, and then the other half is in Jordan. Jordan's more fast moving. So we'll fly to Petra, and then we will get checked in to our hotel, and it'll be kind of like an open night to explore and just get settled. On day 6, we'll do the tour of Red Rose City, a very famous site, and then we will have free time to visit some of these suggested sites below. On day 7, we're going to the desert, so we will transfer to Wadi Rum and get settled into our new glamping style desert glamping style accommodations. That we will also experience a desert beach ride with an optional camel ride before having dinner. And then of course this is when we get to hang out in the desert, guys. Again, it's cold. It's cold in the desert, so in that packing list and in my travel guide, I'm going to make sure to tell people bring all the layers. If you are like me and cold natured, you're going to need a sweater, a sweatshirt, something. Then the next day we will transfer to our last hotel, where we will visit Mount Nebo and the Dead Sea Beach. I actually have someone who's coming on this trip who wants to do a baptism. So I'm in the process of like planning that for them in the Dead Sea. So like stuff like that can easily be built in. Like if there's something you want to do and I have the time and energy, I'm happy to make it a part of your trip. Or there's also, again, just free time you can do with what you want. But just an example of what this experience, you can make this experience your own as well. And then after breakfast, and then we'll have our group farewell dinner. And after breakfast on day 9, unfortunately, we will head to the airport and say our farewells. But not forever, because a lot of people on these trips, they do stay in touch. I mentioned the group chat earlier. The group chat doesn't end because the trip does. There are people, I'm like a part of like 40 group chats. It's actually sometimes too much. I have to mute half of them. But it's nice to see that people are like visiting one another, wishing each other's happy birthday. and maybe even planning like their next adventure together. It doesn't even have to be with Lesbifriends. I just enjoy when people connect with one another. Okay, I will be very quick about this slide because this is basically everything I said, but this is what's included on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side is what's not included. So flights are never included in the trips. The flights to and from, I'll say that, the destination, because once you get to the destination, if there are any flights that are mentioned or any transfers, that is something that we take care of. You do have to get travel insurance because you do have to get travel insurance. You never know what's going to happen, so that is required. I do offer to send people a free quote from my travel insurance provider of choice, who I've personally used for like a decade. But you can go with anyone you want. Everybody's comfortable though, so and I can answer specific questions about policies with my preferred company. Any applicable vaccines, meals not mentioned, personal extras, yada, yada, yada. You have to take care of yourself. So if you were interested in coming on this trip, it's actually not a bad price. I really try hard to make these trips affordable and accessible for people. I'm on a couple mailing lists for other trips. And I think I mentioned that I want to go to Iceland. I probably was because I got an email last week about this trip to Iceland. There was a 5-day trip to Iceland, and I do my research. I know what it could cost to go to Iceland. I know it's not super cheap, but I know it's not expensive as hell. But for like a 5-day trip, I think they wanted like $5,000 or $6,000. I'm like, in what world am I do? Well, no. But anyway, I try to make things very affordable. I even offer a discount of 10% if you pay in full. But there is a flexible monthly payment plan that you're automatically enrolled in when you sign up. But if you ever need to make a change to that, I'm happy to. I'm super flexible. And so these are the prices. A double occupancy means you're sharing a room with someone, not necessarily a bed, but there are 2 people in the room. A single occupancy would be $3,600 if you wanted to upgrade, if you will, and only have yourself in the room. Oh, I can't share that slide yet because that's my ending finale. But you'll get it in the email if anything. Let me stop sharing my screen for a second. Don't worry, I'll share that with you later, but it will be at the end of the presentation. Okay, any questions about Egypt and Jordan or anything I've said thus far?
Hi, this is Gail. I have a question. So, the desert, heat, cold, travel, are there medical clearances that are required for your trips?
No, but I do give a disclaimer, like on each of my trips, I tell you the activity level, right? I'm not giving you any surprises. You're gonna know what the itinerary is, and it's subject to change. Like if it's raining, we're not gonna go hiking. But no, there aren't any medical clearances. It's kind of like you trust yourself. But also it could be a conversation. Like last year I had a very small group trip with 7 people to Portugal and Spain. Two of the women who came were in their 60s, and there was a lot of walking tours on that trip, as you can imagine. So, we had to check in just to, like, I didn't initiate it, but just to gauge, whether they thought they would be able to handle all of the walking on cobblestone old streets. And they were so excited. Both of them were so excited about this trip. They're like, even if I have to sit down and rest, I want to go. And they did. And all of our tour guides were amenable to changes, rolling with the punches. Like even some of like the 40-year-olds and 30-year-olds on the trip. No, I think everybody was 40 and older. Yeah. Even some of us didn't want to like walk up a hill, like huffing and puffing to go see the castle. Like some of us wanted to take the van shuttle that they offered. So You don't have to be able to, I mean, I have, don't get me started on my list. I have all the health issues, if you will. But I think like it's a personal check-in with yourself. I'm happy to have a conversation like one-on-one with people about like the level of activity and the thing, happy to answer any questions about specific trips. But for the desert, like we're not going to be we're not going to be windsurfing, we're going to be in a Jeep ride. There is going to be sun, but our heads and we'll be protected from the sun. We will also take those protective measures and wear sunblock and bring hats and
Right.
have plenty of hydration. So we'll be able to handle it. And it's not deadly. It's not freezing in the desert. I have Raynaud's phenomenon, which is a circulatory condition. So sometimes my toes and fingers turn white and purple and I can't feel them. So I have a heightened condition, but everybody else could probably hang in the desert at night. So.
Okay. All right. And one more question. Meals that are not provided, it'll be in the itinerary where it will say that you're on your own for lunch, or it'll be listed so that we know, correct?
Yes, or the reverse. So I literally say these meals are included. So if I say breakfast is included every day and 2 dinners and 3 lunches, then every other meal outside of that is on your own. But I list those as in the overview, and I also list those day by day.
Okay. All right. I think I'm done with my questions for now.
Great questions. Thank you. All right. Shall we get into a little bit more ice breaking to break up my talking so much. Okay. 3 more prompts I'm going to put in the chat are, oh, sorry, wrong one. Excuse me. Oh, and I'm sorry. I see that you asked that in the chat, Gail. I was not looking at that
Oh,
screen.
okay.
I'm glad you asked it verbally. Okay. Okay. So we're building community. So, and we're seeing the future. So I want to gain some insight in what you guys are potentially dreaming of. Okay. So first of these set of questions, what's one thing you're hoping to find or experience on your next trip? Which kind of travelers do you most vibe with? Chill and go with the flow, someone who's bold with high energy, curious and planned, or a mix? And then what makes a trip feel unforgettable to you? All right, I came up with these questions and I don't even have answers yet. Does anybody want to go first? I can go first if not. Oh,
Can,
go ahead.
can you repeat the questions? They're different than the ones that are in the chat.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, darn it. I went out of order. All right, that was the third set of questions. Sorry. Just kidding. I went out of order because I got excited and I scrolled on my Word document too quickly. So the ones in the chat are actually the right question. So just kidding. Just kidding. Sorry, guys. Okay. So this second set of questions is going to be about reflection, and getting into the trip details a little bit more. So, what's one thing you always pack no matter where you're going? Yeah, I knew I was like, dang, I got deep fast. Okay, what are you, an early bird at sunrise or out dancing till the sun comes up? And then what's your favorite kind of group activity when traveling? And again, you could pick something else. These are just some suggestions. And I can go first because, unless you want to, Gail, because these are lighter than the last ones.
Okay, I'll go. One item I always pack is tissues. So I am sensitive to dust, and my sinuses are always reminding me that it's there. So yeah, tissues is one item. Let's see. I would say when I'm traveling, I'm early. I'm an early bird because I'm here to experience something new. I can sleep when I go back home. So I want to get in as much as I can and get rested so I don't think that I'll be staying up too late dancing. Let's see, my favorite kind of group activity. Oh, food. I love food. I love ethnic foods. I'm cooking it, so I would say food would be one. Deep conversations, absolutely. And if I have a cocktail, it's going to go even deeper. And let's see. Yeah, all of that in that question. It's fine.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Gail.
Okay, I'll go. A journal, because I like to write. So I always try to bring a journal with me. Definitely, I'm an early riser. I love sunrises. So if there's somewhere where I can catch a sunrise, um, I like to be up early for that. And food experiences and deep conversations over drinks are my favorites.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you for sharing those answers.
You're
Both.
welcome.
All right. I am, despite having a travel business, a travel and event business, I'm an introvert. So I just like need me time to replenish my social battery, if you will, and energy reserves. I don't always get those on trips. So those moments. So I always have my earpods with me because that kind of helps me create those spaces, even if it's like on a shuttle where I can like pop them in and listen to an audiobook. I'm always listening to audiobooks. I have more audiobooks in my phone than songs. I'm an early riser too. You guys can, I don't, I think we're all, but I'm not going to be that person on the trip that's going back to back to all the clubs. um, and then I was initially going to say game night, but I think food experiences would be at the top because I love enjoying food, but I also like learning about food and cooking food. So on a lot of my trips, well, when I can, I like to incorporate like a market visit in addition to a cooking class into those experiences because I feel like it's a built-in um, gift to yourself that you get to bring back because that you have the experience and then you can potentially keep like passing it along when cook that meal if you remember for your friends and family. Okay. I'm going to drop the next round in the group chat just because, like I said, this was this was a lot. Even for me to get right to share. We're not sharing it yet, but at least you'll have it in the group chat so that you can think on it while I present the next trip. So, as I mentioned earlier, there's after Egypt and Jordan, there was both interest expressed in Japan and also in South Africa. I can definitely get through both of those and share more details about the trip. It'll be quicker because I don't have to share details about the company. But I just want to make sure you guys are both interested, or at least you, Gail, because you put those down. But those were two places that you still wanted to learn more about the trips.
Yes,
All right,
definitely. Thank you.
we're gonna go. Yay. I'm excited. Okay, I already had the Japan screen pulled up. Oops. Right, let me present. And then I get to share my screen with you. I don't want you to have to see me toggling through my 20 tabs. All right. So, oops, I'm trying to move. Okay, I'm trying to move that over so you don't see all of the things that are going on my screen. Okay, so So our trip to Japan is actually probably like one of the most popular ones this year. Just so you know, again, all trips are different. The most people I've taken on an international trip is 25. We went to the Dominican Republic a couple years ago. And then South Africa, there were 20 of us who went last year. While those are great numbers, I also think like my medium trips, like where there are 12 people, up to 12 people, are great for connection. And so Japan will be that trip where up to 12 travelers go. And so right now there are 8 travelers, so there's 4 spots left on that trip. Um, we're going to a few different places as you can see, and I just don't want to. I don't want 20. I don't want 20 of us running through. Not that we're going to be running through the airport, but when I tell you in South Africa, it was so hard to get people to be on time. Yeah, we're not doing that many people in Japan, so it should be more smooth sailing as far as timing is. But we're going October 13th through the 20th, which is a great time of year for weather and what they have going on locally to Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka. So just like the Egypt Jordan trip, we are flying into one place and we are flying out of another, which isn't well, there's nothing that's typical, but when planning, that is something that I'm trying to address more because I did have someone who booked a round trip flight to Tokyo. But luckily we had time to get them on a flight back to Osaka from Osaka to Tokyo to catch their flight. Anyway, so this is where we are heading in October. All right, more about the accommodations. As you can imagine, Japan is a little more modern, more advanced, if you will. I feel like they're probably more advanced than we are here in the States. So we are staying in very, I guess, what we typically as people who live in America would expect accommodations to be. Higher up, higher star accommodations, if you will, more US standards, if you will, but while still having like the modern feel. Oh, I'm sorry, I went too far. So this is going to be our Tokyo experience. Of course, they have very high buildings. It's very modern, very clean line. So this is the type of, and we're staying in all like boutique, luxurious accommodations. So not your typical like Marriott. No shade to Marriott. I have a Marriott credit card. I want all my points, but that's not this type of trip. So we're going to experience something new somewhere else. Then when we get to Kyoto, which is Japan's ancient capital, this is a more like tranquil space with like modern comforts and minimalist interiors. And then lastly in Osaka, which as a fellow foodie, I'm sure you can appreciate, Gail. This is Japan's food capital. But this is going to be like in the heart of the entertainment district. It's stylish but cozy, and again, pretty modern. And all these hotels, these accommodations that we're staying in are in like very walkable areas, so you can easily like leave the hotel, walk for 5 minutes, and be like on a bustling street to shop, have food, and even experience nightlife if you want. So this is our itinerary in Japan. The video at the top left is very befitting because Japan is busy. Also, another country I've been to. I don't always want to go back to countries that I've been, but also I can't avoid it because I've been fortunate to travel a bit and people want to go to the popular places. So Japan is definitely popular. I have like 4 people like telling me they're going to sign up for this trip. I don't know if they're really going to go, but I keep having people like almost every week say, I'm going to go, I'm going to go. I just got to get my life together. Okay, so similarly to the Egypt trip, you arrive, you get picked up, we were transferred to the hotel to get settled in. The first day in Tokyo, we are going to explore Shibuya's famous Scramble Crossing, the Center Guy, and Shibuya Scramble Square, all very popular places to go and get a local, but also like with a local feel. And then unfortunately, no welcome dinner tonight, on the first night, but I'm sure that people will organize themselves into groups and we will end up at a similar or the same restaurant. Um, on this first day. Day two, breakfast. Um, we are after breakfast. I'm excited about Japanese food. I don't know about you. But after breakfast, we are going to do something a little bit different. We're going to get a little artsy. This is actually like a couple people have been really excited. I feel like I've seen all the art. I'm like all arted out, but also I'm not a super art person. I'm not like a big art person. Like I studied in Europe. I went to like 50 museums while I was there for a summer. I feel like I have museum overkill, but museums are still great. Cultural appreciation. Um, so we're gonna do museums for the folks who like to do museums. This is a unique experience. This is like a very modern, unique Japanese type of museum, which I've never been to. So I'm kind of excited about that. And then we're gonna do a tour of Skytree and a private cruise along the Sumida River. For those who want to do it again, trips are all a little bit different. The last trip I shared, we had a half day tour, but because Japan is go go go, and we only have a short amount of time, we're gonna get it all in on our first full day there. And for people who want to keep the party going, there's an optional add-on to do a Japanese taiko drum lesson. On day three, we're going to do a flower arranging class. I thought that would be kind of cool and unique. And then we are going to visit the Imperial Palace East Garden before heading to a fish market, and experiencing some of the local culture and seeing how they live in their day-to-day lives. On day four, we are, instead of flight, guys, we're still flying. I think we're still flying. We're flying. No, we're not flying. I'm sorry. We're not flying in Japan. But we are going to take some cool transportation. So we're going to go by bullet train to Kyoto, after breakfast on our fourth day there. And then we're going to do a food tour, of a market. So it includes the food in the tour, which is exciting. We get to eat, and I told you I like markets and I like food. So we cooking or we tasting. We're doing something. Then we're gonna go to a traditional tea ceremony, and visit a samurai and ninja museum where we might get to try on the garb, for those who are interested. On day five, we're going to do a full day tour, all the cool landmarks in Kyoto. And then we're going to visit some iconic structures, before experiencing a geisha show in the Gion. I really need to take off that half day biking tour. I forgot to do this the last intro session because I'm like, when are we even gonna have time? Um, but for those who are super ambitious, we'll make it happen. Day six, we're gonna head to Osaka, our last stop. So sad. Our last stop in Japan, where we're gonna get settled in and experience our last cool hotel before doing a hands-on cooking class. Oh, I'm really excited about Japan, guys, because I did a market food tasting tour and a cooking class. I am so excited. I'm getting excited, more excited. I forget some of these things that I plan because I literally planned these trips last year. So like, just twiddling my thumbs, waiting around for these trips to happen, and I'm planning other trips in the future. So I'm like, oh, yeah, that is a cool thing we're gonna experience. Anyway, so in the evening, people can explore Dotonbari. Excuse me, not in the evening, in the late afternoon. Dotonbari, that's another, iconic area, that will be in, throughout the day. And if people want to keep it going, there's an optional botanical garden visit as well. Day seven, you finally get a day to yourself. Again, this is kind of like a survey trip. Again, I encourage people to come early, leave late if they can. But in the time that I have you for planning purposes, I'm going to try to give you your fill. But on day seven, you can sleep in. You could do that optional bike tour. You could do the optional botanical garden on day 7 too if you want. No, the bike tour is in a different city. Just kidding. But you have options, or you can just go stroll, go shopping, eat some really good street food. But the day is yours. Day 8, we have to say our goodbyes. I'm sorry, I don't like trips to end either, but some people have to come back to work, and the federal government helps me pay my student loans, so I'll be returning to work. Womp womp. But real quick, before we wrap up Japan, this is all that's included. Oh, I didn't mention this before. The swag bag. I give a swag bag on every trip because who doesn't like to get a gift as soon as you show up somewhere? So I try to tailor it to things that you might need on the trip that you just might have forgot, or just like little goodies that you just might want to have, in your travel bag. So you also get a a swag bag. And then the same on the right hand side that we talked about before. I tell people get travel insurance, get travel insurance, get travel insurance. I don't care where you get it from. Sometimes it's through your credit card, already built into the protections that you have because you paid for that trip using that card. But I definitely encourage people, like, I buy travel insurance when I go to Massachusetts, which is where I'm from, because you just never know. And I've had people miss trips or experience things on trips that affect them later on, and then they're covered because they have travel insurance. Okay, price for Japan, a little bit more expensive than Africa, as you can imagine. So and it's 1 day less, but this is what we're paying for. Okay, so if you choose the double occupancy way, you're gonna pay 3,200. Again, pretty darn affordable. Based on what I've learned about other companies, what other companies are charging. If you want to splurge for the room by yourself, which I completely understand, I think there's out of the 7 or 8 people that have booked this trip, I think 60% are doing their own rooms. I'm not mad at them. I like to save some change. I'll have a roommate usually, but to each their own. But that price would be $4,300. It keeps showing that page by accident. Okay. All right. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can just see if there are any questions.
I have a question. I have my passport, but for some of your trips, do you need a visa?
Some of them you do. And that changes all the time. So we just went to Brazil. We did not need a visa to get into Brazil. Now you need a visa to get into Brazil. So yes, I typically tell you that at the onset of the trip. However, sometimes things change. Now you need a visa to go to London. So it just depends, but I do keep up to date with that, and I will communicate that with you. Usually it's like a e-visa that you can easily get like online a few days before the trip.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. E meaning electronic visa, sorry. But I will definitely make sure we have all that information and even help you like figure out how to do it. Because I'm Lesbifriends is having a trip right now, like as we speak, in Bali. I started a trip leader program late last year, and this is the second time I've invited someone to be a trip leader who has been on multiple Lesbifriends trips, so is very familiar with how it works, but to lead a trip. So I'm a couple days before the trip. That's the time where you would get the electronic visa for Indonesia, and it is a process. I went through it last year, and our trip leader was who even had trouble themselves the second time around that they've been to Bali. Guided everybody through the process expertly, like just like deep breaths. It'll be okay. Their system isn't perfect, but yeah. So we'll make sure that you are well equipped to get that, and it's usually not expensive. I think the one for Bali was like $25. Okay. Gail did not unmute themselves, so I'm assuming they don't have questions, and we'll just go into South Africa. Oh no, we're not going to South Africa. We're doing the the third set of, I could wait till the end, but I feel like we should do this now. We're doing the third set of icebreaker get to know yous, even though I normally would do this at the conclusion. So, okay, these are a little bit heavier. Um, I might need to think on this again too. Okay, what's one thing you're hoping to find or experience on your next trip? Excuse me. Which kind of travelers do you most vibe with? And then there's some examples: chill, go with the flow, bold and high energy, curious and planner, or a mix. And then 9, or the last question of the night, what makes a trip feel unforgettable to you? All right, Gail, you're up.
Well, I was going to ask Charlotte if she wanted to go because I went first last time.
Okay, sure, I'll go. What's one thing you're going to hope to find or experience on your it's just making some new friends, starting maybe just introducing myself to a new travel community that I don't have in my life right now. Which I am a chill and go with the flow type of traveler. And what makes a trip feel unforgettable to me? Um, I think just maybe experiencing a situation that will give me some peace and leave me with an unforgettable sense of joy. That will be a lasting memory for me, if that makes sense.
That was so good.
Okay, thank you, Charlotte. So for myself, I would say all of my trips have been professional development, training, and it's time for something for myself. So relaxation and being open to the experience. Uh, and who do I vibe with? I would say basically all of those. Yeah, yeah, I would say all of those in moderation. And for the last one, for myself, when I went to Italy a couple years ago for professional development training, I thought it would be my training that I would walk away with new techniques, new colleagues. And what I walked away with was a newer, deeper sense of community. What I saw, how they made our experience so meaningful for me, a sense of community of people coming together for the couple that planned the whole event, their community coming together to share their gifts in order for the whole experience to be a gift was amazing. So that's not what I thought that I would walk away with. I walked away with a deeper sense of community. And I will stop there. Thank you.
Oh, that was so good. Y'all are so hard to follow. Oh my gosh. This is why I start. Low expectations. Uh, thank you for both of you for answering. Those were great answers. Um, I I really like to sleep on trips. Like I feel like I get the best sleep because even when I'm sleeping in my own bed, and which is very comfortable, but I'm home, so there's always something to do. So when I go on trips, I can like turn off unless I'm hosting sometimes, but also I could still have downtime. But I want good sleep, um, and some rest, um, in all the ways, not just sleep. I like chill and go with the flow travelers when I'm hosting a trip, and when I'm on a trip with on a friend trip or on a solo trip, I like curious and planners. So I can take off my planning hat and let someone else wear it. And then all trips are unforgettable because of the people who are on them and the conversations that I'm not always a part of. Sometimes I'm just like creeping and like listening because again, I'm an introvert and I just actually just like to watch and like sit back and watch and let other people have the floor and take in those connections. And I will say like that's probably like the one of the best parts of Lesbifriends travel trips for me is just like watching connections unfold for people and like having people like seeing people like giggle amongst themselves or just like really make good connections like that are gonna last on trips. I make good connections too, don't get me wrong, but I most enjoy like when other people have the connections and then I get to hear about them. I think this year there were people on two trips. I'm not saying they're couples, but there are at least, and they're friend couples too, but there were like at least two romantic couples kind of made on trip. I was like, I can't find me anybody, but I'm glad you guys got each other. But anyway, yes, that's that. And without further ado, I will take us to South Africa. We might go over a couple minutes. Sorry, I'm a little bit long-winded, but I will try to get us through this as quick as possible. All right, so we're going to South Africa. First New Year's trip ever. Never have done one of these, but I think it should be fun. Like, who doesn't want to spend New Year's in another country? Like, that's one of my favorite things to do on New Year's is travel. And then just to go to the motherland, like, of course, it's a given. So we're going to be going to Johannesburg and Halui, South Africa, which is a place that maybe you haven't heard about. I didn't know about it either until I started researching this trip. But because we went to South Africa last year, and we went to Cape Town, which anybody can travel to by themselves on their own. I didn't want to take people back to Cape Town because it's an easy lift to just add on to your trip if you want to go experience it. So I wanted to take some people to a place that was off the beaten path. So really cool, swanky accommodations in Joburg. So not too far from the airport. It's a very charming boutique hotel. They also have a very good team that I've spoken to on multiple occasions who have helped me make this planning process so easy. And it's easy access to the city. So, but this is going to be like a great place to get settled when we first arrive. It's going to feel like our home away from home for a few days. Then our next stop. So this is like we're doing a little bit of, well, it's definitely cultural, right? Because we're in South Africa and we're in Joburg, but we are also going to get some beach life in on the trip as well as some adventure um and some nature as we are going on a safari. So our second accommodation is in between coastal forests and village life. So we'll also get to experience a little bit of that. This is like they offer mostly vegetarian meals, farm to table, but they do have some like flexitarian options for those of us who consume animal protein in any form. And it's a fun place because a lot of the activities like are just pick your own adventure. So when there's free time and you want to go snorkeling, you don't have to pay for it because it's already included in what you're paying to go on the trip. All right, and then last but not least, these views are stunning, which is part of why I chose this. But again, modern, but very like culturally relevant for where we're going. So we're going to be experiencing the Zulu community. And this will be like our cozy retreat space. It's a small boutique space that is expertly crafted. Like we are going to enjoy the space just as much as we are going to enjoy getting out of the space and going on the adventures. All right. I love going back to where I've been before because I can selfishly use pictures that these are actual pictures from last year's trip. These are all the beautiful people that came on this trip. That's me right there, and me right there. And all of the rest of the beautiful people that came. But day one, get to Joburg. We are going to pick you up from the airport, get you settled in to our comfy our comfy accommodations, and then we will have a welcome dinner on this trip at the Sanctuary Mandala. Day two, we're going to ease you into it because you've been traveling a while. And this is a little bit more of a leisure trip than a go trip like Japan. So breakfast, and then we will visit the Apartheid Museum, which was remarkable last year. Like it just touched a lot of people. So, and last year, because we had so much to do in one day, like we didn't get to take it in and experience it. But they have a cafe on site. So we'll spend like a few hours here just enjoying this experience. It's an immersive experience. Day three, breakfast. We only had two. We only had 2 days in Joburg, guys. Sorry, but come early if you want an extra day. So we are gonna fly to our next accommodations, which is Munguzi, excuse me, and then we're gonna head to our lodge. So we're gonna get into the nature. I can't say that this is from a trip or done an underwater experience on a trip. So sorry, can't take credit for that. But everything else. Um, so breakfast, day four. Then again, these experiences are just included in the package from the accommodation. So you can kind of do what you want to do, maybe pair up, maybe we could do it as a group, but it's kind of like a pick your own adventure. So we can experience guided hikes, snorkeling, traditional fish trap exploration. That's what I'm gonna pick because I always told my uncles I wanted to go fishing. Nobody ever took me fishing as a kid. So I'm gonna go to Africa and fish. Anyway, or you could just have a beach day. Then we are going to visit social enterprises and change makers. That's like our community immersion event. So cool. We get to like go to like someone's local place of like their home, their village, and they are going to welcome us into that. And there's also community life immersion, so local meal storytelling and village visits. Again, these are all included. So we are gonna these are options on day 4 and day 5. Day 6, breakfast, another delicious vegetarian breakfast for those of us who need to eat more vegetables like me. And then we're gonna have to leave to our last accommodations where we'll get settled at another lodge. They're considered lodges, but clearly they're like elevated lodging. This isn't camping. This isn't glamping. Yes, this is luxury. This is actually a luxury trip, guys. Even though we staying with the animals. Then we're gonna do a game drive and an evening sundowner. So we're gonna get to be on like in a jeep um, with the animals. Well, not with them, but like alongside them. All right, day 7. This is our big 5 game drive at the national park. So we're gonna see hopefully all of the big 5. Hopefully one of y'all know what those are because even though I went on a safari last year and it was like my second one, I don't remember. I mean, I think it's the elephant, the lion, yeah, I'll get back to you on that. But we're gonna, even if we don't see all of the big 5, because sometimes they be hiding, we're gonna see more animals than just that than is just on that list. Then we're gonna do a guided tour of a Zulu village. We're gonna do basket weaving and cooking activities to learn more about their culture, and to meet with a community spiritual leader before having our final dinner and hopefully a very good night's rest before we head back to the States or wherever you are off to next. And we are, yes. All right, what is included in this trip? All the things I've been saying. that are listed on the left. A lot of you can have this could be a chill trip for you, or it could be an adventure trip. It's kind of like a make it your own, but all of this is included. So I'm gonna do as much as I can. And then you already know, get yourself to and from South Africa. We got you while you're there. Price for South Africa, double occupancy is 3,300. Still not bad because these are considered 5-star luxury game reserve accommodations. And then if you want to splurge, ball out, get your own room, you're gonna pay a little bit more. And just as always, 10% off if you want to pay in full, but happy to have you set up on any payment plan that would be more amenable to your situation. I like a payment plan. I'm just saying, give me a payment plan. Okay. And then just to thank you for being a part of this, spending your evening with us. Clearly, like, what did I say? There were supposed to be 11 people here. Clearly, 9 people forgot about this, but that's okay because the people who were supposed to be here are here. Thank you, Charlotte and Gail. And if the other people who didn't make it are rewatching this, yes, I'm talking about you. We wanted you to be here, but you're not. But that's okay because I had fun with Gail and Charlotte. But this is just to thank you. If you do book a trip, you'll at least save $25 or $100 on one of these trips. And that is all I have for you in particular about the trips and the company. But I do have one more ask of you because I did not include this on my 9 icebreaker questions. So I need to know. I need to know where you want to go next. So because I'm literally planning next year right now. I'm not saying you have to go on that trip, but you know, if you wanted to like get a little plug in, where someplace like a little bug in my ear, where someplace you'd want to go.
Have you already done Costa Rica? I'm probably sure you did, yes.
I've personally done Costa Rica several
I
times.
mean, at the group.
I have not. So in full transparency, Gail, I did plan a trip to Costa Rica this year. I was supposed to be in August. I put the trip out pretty early on, I think late last year, and one person signed up um, in like 5 or 6 months. And I was like, I think, and then I checked in with them and I was like, hey, have you booked your flight yet? I'm reconsidering dates. And they're like, I might lose my job. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Would you potentially like me to give you a refund? And they said yes. So I did end up canceling that trip because I don't know if it was the type of trip it was because it was kind of like a culturally immersive trip. We were going to an eco lodge. Like it was a 2-part trip. But we were going to an eco lodge, so I don't know if people just weren't interested in that. But I could do it again. I could try.
Maybe putting ayahuasca on the tail end, that might get some people.
Oh, now you're talking my language, Gail. Yes, and we can talk because that is something I want to. That's something I want to do. I did a last year. I had a personal friend invite, but also like Lesbifriends, like people will become my friends through the community. I did I've never taken like any psychedelics, any shrooms. So I and I asked someone who I knew who had experienced guiding people in that process,
Mm-hmm.
and we did a trip in my living room. Um, and it was like 8 of us. It was great. I mean, I would like to do a trip like an actual trip to do a trip, but it was just an intro, if you will. But anyway, I've since then on the Brazil trip, actually, there were like 4 people who expressed interest in ayahuasca.
Yeah.
So I'm that's something I can actively look into, and it could be in Costa Rica.
Okay. I have a colleague that went to Brazil because I have another colleague that lives there that she did her ayahuasca experience there in Brazil.
Nice.
Oh, I did want to add to number 7 about what I wanted to experience. So I wanted to also experience connection with sisters of culture. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be, well, no, I can't say that. So, yes, to experience connection with sisters of culture, to hear and learn of others' experiences of what they care to share as they lived on this planet. So, yeah.
I like that. Thank you. Charlotte, you got any?
I maybe some in the South Pacific, like Fiji Islands or Tahiti. And I've always wanted to go to Mauritius.
Okay, those could happen. Those could happen. I like
Okay,
that idea.
so
Okay, thank
they're on my
you.
bucket list.
Good places. Would you stay like right on the water?
Yeah, that would be terrific. That would be fantastic.
Yeah. I have a friend, a lesbian friend, but a friend nonetheless. She came on the Thailand trip and she's coming on the cruise next week with us. And she was just was she in Tahiti? She sent me pictures. And she said, because I was like, well, what's your experience been? I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, well, what's your experience been? Because like I want to go. Um, but she said, yeah, it wasn't what she was expecting. Just I think the price point. Um, yeah, the price point was like everything was just super expensive, but I also think you gotta like budget for that too. So I don't know. I'm learning the balance. Like honestly, I keep hearing, and I'm a lesbian. I don't know how you guys identify, but keep hearing lesbians are cheap. And sometimes we are, and sometimes we're willing to spend the money. So I want to go to all those places. I don't know if I can get a group of people to pay for the way that I would like to go to those places. Or yeah, she was in Tahiti. Um, yeah, like, and I was like, did you stay on one of those huts on the water?
Oh yeah.
She didn't. She didn't stay on it, but she was like right near one. She's like, yeah, I don't know that it would have made a difference. Um, but it could have just been her experience. If I go, I'm gonna have the best time of my life.
I think I would like to get someplace where I could ride horses on the beach. For
Ooh.
some reason, that's really hard to find. So
There's like you could do that in Maryland or Virginia. But
really,
yes,
okay, I'll just
there's
drive down 95 then. But
there's a beach. Well, no, I'm sorry. You can't ride them on the beach. There's a beach with wild horses. I misspoke. But when we just went to Nicaragua in March, Lesbifriends, this was an add-on excursion. There were like four or five people on that trip who rode horses on the beach. And when we went to Dominican Republic a couple years ago, we rode horses. I'm not going to say it was on the beach because it was kind of through the mud to get to the waterfall,
mhm.
but it was still a nice experience. But I can incorporate that into a trip, or at least as an add-on into the trip, because I'd like to say I'm adventurous, but I also did not love that horseback ride experience.
Well, even if
Uh,
it's a pony or something, it's just another bucket list item. That would be fantastic.
okay, well I can make it happen. I can make it happen anywhere that we're connected to water. I'm sure I could find it for us to do. So yeah, but thank you both for that. Adding
Vietnam,
the go ahead.
one more place, Vietnam and Cuba.
Okay, that's and Cuba. Okay, all right.
I,
Definitely Vietnam, maybe Cuba.
yeah, yeah. I've been to Cuba once,
Vietnam's
and
on the list.
yeah, that's one place where you you can travel the whole island.
You want to go back?
Yes, I would love to go back one more time before, well, I said back then, and this was like 15 plus years ago, before America gets there. And America has stayed out, which is even better.
Agreed. I went 20 years ago.
Okay.
Yep, it was untouched. And then I went back 10 years ago. No, not quite 10 years ago. It was different, but still, yeah, yeah. Cuba could be added, but Vietnam definitely. It's one of my favorite countries. I've been there twice, and I will make that trip happen next year.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking about food. Love Asian food.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Well, I'm gonna send just so you know how this works, and thanks for rolling with it being 10 minutes over. Um, it's late. I don't know if I'll do it tonight. I don't know if you can hear. I'm getting congested. My allergies are acting up. Sorry. But definitely by tomorrow, I do send like a wrap up email thanking you for being here, sending that little code out if you choose to book a trip. And just like opening the floor if there are any questions. But I send that to you guys. So because you of course registered, I have your email address. Thank you. And I will send that to you sometime tomorrow. If you have any questions that you think about, or um, yeah, if you have any other trip suggestions, by all means, I'm very accessible. So just shoot me an email. Happy to talk travel. Um, and yeah, hopefully I'll be building out that all the trips, all the trips one day that y'all mentioned. But definitely a couple of the ones that we've talked about potentially in 2026.
And thank you very much for everything. This has been great. This has been fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you, Gail, for spending part of your evening. Hope you guys enjoy the tail end of your weekend and have a great week next week.
Thank you. You as well.
You too. Take good care now. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.